25 years of media excellence and impacted lives in Ghana and beyond. My name is Daniel Daze. Welcome to News Today.
I have been in 2 meetings with the ambassador, and from his point of view, the Foreign Affairs Ministry is ready, but they don't have resources, they don't have the money. And from the Health Ministry side, adequately ready for us. Meanwhile, in one of the meetings, Dr. Insiansari was invited to the meeting, and he assured us that Ghana is very ready to go under the quarantine. So now, I don't know why they.
Now, away from that story, the opposition National Democratic Congress and other political parties walked out of an IPAC meeting over the new voter register. Baba Jamal is a Deputy Director of Legal Affairs of the NDC, and Robil Mutau Akilu is the APC's IT consultant. They are with us in studio. Mr. Jamal, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So tell us, why did you walk out of that meeting?
We walked out of the meeting because that was the purpose we were invited for, is not what was being discussed. We received a letter that didn't have an agenda, but when we got there, it seems 3 letters have been circulated to different groups of people, because somebody read a letter that have an agenda, another person read a letter that was a response to their letter to the Electoral Commission, and then our letter didn't have an agenda. But with the understanding that we earlier agreed that there will be a meeting of the experts to discuss the possibility of the new register or otherwise. So when we got there, and then the Electoral Commission states that they are going to have a new register, we asked them some 3 basic questions that they couldn't answer. Because the first question is that by their own evaluation report, the company that is supposed to have won the procurement bid to supply the BVDs and whatnot, says that it needs 84 days from the day of signing the report to provide the BVDs. Meanwhile, Electoral Commission is telling us that in April they are starting the registration. What are they going to start the registration with? Because with the 84 days, taking it from, even if they sign the contract today, it takes us to May. So how are they going to start the registration in April?
What was the EC's response?
The EC's response is that they are taking down our views and they will consider it. At this point, when we have just 10 months to go to an election.
What were the other 2 questions?
The other one was that the issue is, have we agreed whether we are going to have a new register or not a new register? Then that was when the issue of the letter came up.
Okay.
That we should read our letter and see what was the agenda. We read our letter, and our letter didn't have an agenda.
Does that mean that you didn't know why you were going for that meeting?
Oh, of course we knew. We went to the meeting with the understanding that there was an earlier understanding after the inconclusive meeting,
right,
that the IT experts and the political parties will be invited to sit down with the Electoral Commission to look into the possibility of a new or otherwise in terms of the possibilities. Because you see, you are dealing with IT. Technology has some way of dictating time. There are certain things you can't do it within some space of time, whether we like it or not. You can't do it. So if the BVDs are going to be ready in May, when are we going to start our registration? When are we going to review the register? When are we going to get the final register? Even before candidates start filing their register, it is virtually, technically impossible.
And those are the concerns you raised
and these
at
are
the
the
meeting.
concerns. And apart from that,
right,
whilst the Electoral Commission was telling the world that it is saving this country money, the BVDs and whatever is going to cost about $70 million. Now you are telling the world that you are going to do it at 52 million, which means that you are saving the country 80 million, which is not true. From their own documents, not like our documents, their own documents. So we are saying that, look, you have a technical challenge. Don't throw this country. And another critical question we asked was about piloting. Because in the Electoral Commission timetable they gave us, there's nowhere they featured piloting. Can you experiment a system with a major crucial election like the general elections in 2020? Do you want to do that? When you look at the old system, at least we have piloted it. You remember when it was first done, we have to do voting for 2 days.
Right, in the
You
2012 election.
That was
because
the
of problems with verification.
Problems with the verification and the challenges of the system. That was the first time we're using the system. So
Right.
you are bound to have it. But beyond that, you saw that we've held several other elections without any problem. And that's what we are telling the Electoral Commission. If you even want to have a new register, you don't have a new register
with a major election like the 20. So these points have been raised,
yes.
Mr. Jamal. But for the meeting itself, yes. How was this agenda communicated to you? How were you made to understand that when you go, you are now going to decide if we are going to have a new voters register?
Because definitely, when we received the letter was for us to come for a meeting. And the main agenda we all knew, or right. The problem on the table, is the IT and then the new register. So definitely,
were you told by the EC that we are now going to decide?
They stated it clearly.
Okay.
When we got there, one of their technical IT man stated it that this is their position. They have invited us, so we come and make inputs, our reservations into the implementation of a new register.
But the EC has made this clear that their future engagement with your party and with all other political parties would be for you to enrich the compilation process.
That is not our understanding. We have never, our position has not changed. We are saying that in terms of cost, in terms of time, we are treading on a dangerous ground. We will not be a party to a system that will destroy this country.
Does that mean that in the future you will not take part in any such processes?
No, we are not going to take part in, because we made one point clear, and I spoke on behalf of our party. Okay. And I made one point clear, that look, we are for anything that will improve the current register.
Right.
If they want to upgrade it, we are for it. Technically, if they want to even change anything, we are for it. But to throw away the old system with 16 million people and say we're going to compile a new register, that is not right, and we will not support that. That is our problem with the register. If they want to change anything or introduce a new system or a register or whatever, we are for it. But to say we are going to change a complete register, that is where we have a problem.
We also have with us in studio the All People's Congress, APC's IT consultants, Robil Muta Wakil. He'll be giving us his perspective from an IT perspective, what exactly his reservations are. Mr. Muta Wakil, so you heard the Electoral Commission speak. In which way did they rub you wrongly?
I think Electoral Commission is not prepared for the job. From a professional point of view, there is a drive somewhere, and the real technical people, they are not actually telling the administrator the proof of a feasibility of a project that they are embarking on. You are the media, you have enough of audience on the ground. For our arrangement in Ghana, Electoral Commission seemingly legally in course is independent, but it's an enterprise that has stakeholders, technical stakeholders, political stakeholders, and even traditional stakeholders, and even the media. You cannot be doing something of this critical nature in isolation. And this is where I'm charging the media to be a bit inquisitive, to look much detail into what the Electoral Commission is doing. Otherwise, what we have choked under the 1992 Constitution, this Fourth Republic, for that particular exercise, will be threatened greatly.
So your position is the EC is not ready. Mr. Jamal, and he mentions stakeholders. Now, the University of Ghana Political Science Department has carried out a survey to find out 6 out of 10 Ghanaians actually want a new voter register.
That was a very bogus survey. Bogus in the sense that it was not part of their main, according to Dr. Owusu Ansa, who happened to be my mate in the
Owusu
Mensa, who happened to be my mate in the university. They themselves, that was not a major question. It was a question that came up on the field. And I have seen text messages that between the same department fighting over it, that was not the position. And for that matter, there was a problem with that research that they did. Clearly, no research today, because we have also done our internal researches. And we are very sure that more than 50% of the people in this country don't want a new register. Think that the old register can take us through 2020.
You say that there was contention within the politics departments, but the
Yes.
political science department has presented a united
They
front.
presented the point, and I watched that interview.
Exactly.
I watched it, and he, when even the person who interviewed him, asked him whether that was that the main purpose of the research. He said no.
But that does not change the results that came out.
No. It changes it in the sense that, you see, when you do research and you go on the field and some questions come up, you don't leave your main research and come and be hyping on the questions that came up as like maybe addendums or whatever on the field. Do you understand? When you have a research, you can present your report and say that these are some of the things that we found, but we are going to investigate or interrogate it further.
Right.
But to make it as if it was the main research and throw it into the system, I think that they did a lot of disservice to the political science department. That is also my department anyway. So I felt very bad when they did that.
Let me go back to Mr. Mutawakil, who wants to make an input on this issue.
Yeah, I think the question of whether Ghanaians like a new register is not the bean here.
Okay.
It's not the bean of the contention. People will certainly need improvements in our processes. But to let it look like a system that has produced 2 presidents for NDC, produced 2 presidents for MPP, is weak, is not credible, and bringing in a system within a shortest possible time with an entire change of infrastructure is not the question they push to Ghanaians. This is an intellectual dishonesty of the highest order. I like a new register, fine. But do I like a new register in a crash period, which we can't determine the outcome? There is no pilot, there is nothing. The cost implementations of it are not clear. Was that put to the questionnaire? So sometimes I always say that you have a critical role as a 4th seat in the form of a media to always query some of these things. Otherwise, politicians will play with us. They will play with established institutions, and if we don't take time, all what we are raising will be thrown to the dogs.
So, Mr. Jamal, you have walked out of this meeting.
Yes.
You are opposed to this new voters register, but the Electoral Commission is still going on with processes. What's next for you?
I will caution them to be careful. As Mutawakil said, the enterprise of the commission itself is not working in isolation. They may be independent, but they are not autonomous from the other parties. We have to work together. We are telling them practical things on the ground. You see, when we went to the meeting, I was expecting that when somebody is sure of himself and wants to do something within this crash period, any question you put to that person at this time should be able to answer. But if this is the time you are taking views down to now go and see whether it is implementable or not, then you have a problem. We are saying that the electoral committee, and I'm glad he has come out as a technical person, the electoral committee seems not to even prepared for the new register. Because as we talk now, I have given you one example from their own document, the evaluation report of the tendering process.
But they're still taking your input. It does not mean they are ready. They are not ready.
No, they are not. They are not because when you are speaking to them and you are asking those technical questions, because for example, if I ask, when are you going to pilot? And your own timetable didn't factor in pilot. And you are not telling me that, oh, we are going to look at it and see how we are going to pilot it.
Right.
Does it show seriousness?
This is
Does it show you are ready?
This is definitely a conversation that is not over. Baba Jamal, thank you very much. He's Deputy Director Legal Affairs for the NDC. Rabil Mutawakil is also an IT consultant for the APC. We'll be following this story very keenly as the day progresses. Now, President Akufo-Addo has reassigned 2 ministers of state. A statement from the presidency was released a while ago, and that's what you have on your screen. It reads, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has reassigned the following ministers with immediate effect. The first is Honorable Brian Champong, MP, Minister of State at the Ministry of National Security, who is now Minister of State at the Ministry of Interior. The second is Honorable Henry Korte, MP, Deputy Minister for Interior, who is now Deputy Minister at the Ministry of National Security. As you see there, it's signed by the Director of Communications at the Presidency, Eugene Ahin. Expect more on this story as well in later bulletins. Now it's time for business, where finance ministers and central bank governors in West Africa have begun yet another crunch meeting in Sierra Leone over possible introduction of the single currency, ECHO. Daryl has more on this when he comes with business right after this.